That's a good one too. But only thing I wouldn't say was referring to you.
What?
How people compare all cops as being What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Process Podcast. I'm here, Malachi Finch again. To my right, Elijah Wright. To my left, Keyshawn Daniels. And to my further left, Amari Wallace. And we're back to you for another podcast. Now, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, don't forget to do all of that. Don't forget to watch it all the way through. Don't forget to let it sink in. Don't forget to just be educated. Don't forget to share it to others and allow them to be educated. But yeah, don't forget to do all that, and we're gonna start now. So I'm just gonna take it right on to Amari.
All right, we can get right to it. What do you think this generation of youth is headed? In the right direction, the wrong direction? I'll start with Eli.
Me personally, the way our generation is headed, like in general, I don't feel like it's going in a good direction just because of like all the generalized stuff that isn't like truly like normal in my opinion. Like things like bashing of cops, like bashing of like just like some men and women bash on the opposite gender because something might have happened to them in their life with the opposite gender, and it like just made them upset, and then they just like go on and say bad stuff about the other gender. But in general, I feel like the generation of our youth isn't heading in a good direction. Cause like even in my I forgot about this. I remember I was gonna say this. My sisters, they just started high school. I mean, not high school. Whoa, middle school, and they said that in their bathrooms it smells like weed, and I was like, that's crazy. Because when I went there, because I went to that same middle school, it never smelled like that at
Right.
What school did you go to?
Southwest Academy.
Definitely piggybacking off of what Eli said. I don't really think this generation, specifically the generation of youth, is headed in the right direction. I feel like things are slowly changing, like where it could get to a point where they are headed to that right direction. But I just genuinely don't think that we're headed in the right direction. You know, it's at fault of some adults. It's at fault of us older ones that are of age, like in that upper youth area. So like 17, 18, 19, 20. Like, so those older um, those young adults and those just becoming adults from teens, like it's really in our hands to shape out or to be examples to the younger ones. So those youth that are growing up, adolescents, toddlers, babies, all that good stuff.
So I guess question for Eli and Kai, are you more so saying that the generation is headed in the wrong direction because of adults or because of past experiences?
I feel like I would say more both. Like I feel like I would lean more towards the adults though, because the adults raised us and like are supposed to tell us what is right from wrong. But past experiences can also like shape how you like go along with your life.
But then again, as well too, we can't sit and we can't blame it all on adults, because at the end of the day, a parent could raise their child up perfectly, and they get to school and it's the example. So it's really just it depends on where one kid sees one thing, they start acting that way. Then the other good kid sees that thing, they start acting that way. So it's really just like a follow me type of thing. Like I don't think one thing I will say with adults, I don't think everybody raised their child to be a leader and not a follower. Because I could definitely say that was the motto in my house growing up and going to school:
Right,
be a leader and not a follower. So I don't think everybody was raised to that standard. So I feel like it's not all adults, but like I said, it's some kids see stuff and kids see things and they let it marinate within them and they follow that thing, you know. So kids want to be, they want to be on the next trend. They want to follow. They want to do what seems cool in a way.
I don't know. I think money has become the potency of this generation. I think we do. It causes this generation to sway away because we have come to a point where we do anything to get money.
Mm-hmm.
Sell weed to get money. You twerk to get money. There's a lot of different things that this generation does, and I think money has become the potency, and it strays us away from the actual life. Life should be more than just money. It should be more than just finance.
Definitely.
It should be relationships. It should be friendships. It should be,
I agree.
And so I think when we ask the question, is our generation headed in the right direction? I think I'll say currently no. But if we change the way we look at life and the viewpoint of it, I
Yes.
think we could actually be better.
So you're saying the main reason this generation is better because of money, or what's the main
I
reason?
think it's the bad desire to have money.
Okay.
So you're saying money is definitely one of those big negatives on this generation.
Yes.
I agree. Again, I think money is what everybody aspires to attain. So instead of, and it's not even really just about money or Christianity, but just in secular life as well. I mean, money isn't always more important than relationships or the friendships you build and stuff like that, because connections matter. A lot of times your connections can also lead to money. So
And it ties into everything.
it does. It certainly does. But Kai, you had said you had said adults kind of shape this generation a little bit. Can you want to expand on that like a little more? Like,
So I mean, like, adults are like leaders, like in a way. Like people see I should use youth as an example. They'll see adults and they're like, okay, well, the adults, like your parents, they're like your teachers of life. Like, and the way you're raised, like I said, but it's different because, like I said, the way you're raised doesn't really have to shape out who you are, especially with school and stuff. Because, like I said, you can act one way at home and you can act like this perfect Christian who was raised in this strict house with strict parents with strict rules, and then you get to school and you act a fool. So
yeah, and then I know you're at the camp a lot. So
Yeah,
I know those. Yeah.
I work at a summer camp with kids, and don't get me wrong, I love each kid very equally. And the thing I love about the kids is that each kid has a different personality. Nobody's the same, and you have those kids who are up there who are good. I've dealt with some of the most polite kids I've ever seen in my life, like kids who are 3 and 4 and 5 who just have the most amazing manners. But then I have kids who are like, you have kids who are 3 who know every NBA YoungBoy song, and kids who are 3 and they know what a middle finger is, and they know what this cuss word is, and that just goes to show who that kid is around. So me being at that summer camp, it kind of makes me glad, because as a young adult, I can step in and lead in another direction rather than the direction that they're headed in.
Yeah, I feel you. I think that's a big reason though. Like I like kind of to be with kids a lot of the times, because for me it's the satisfaction of seeing a lot of times yourself in some of the kids.
Yes.
Like
Oh my
working with
gosh,
the youth
yes.
as a church, it's like it'd be like, dang, like you kind of remind me, of
Me,
myself a little bit
yeah.
right there when I was your age or so and so, and it'd be like, like wow, kind of like a really big
Yeah.
wow factor. And I think that kind of connection is slightly been missing a little bit with the discrepancy between the youth and the adults, because you always have, the older generation, clowning on the younger generation for they're doing this, and then you have the younger generation about talking about how the old heads are stuck up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's also we're missing that connection between, oh wow, I see myself in you, so let me help you get to where I'm at now. Let me help you improve the same way I improved.
Right. Because it's definitely a disappointment to see somebody who actually has a lot of potential go down the wrong
Yes.
path and follow down the wrong track when you know and you see inside of them that they could be doing something greater than what they are already doing.
And that's the thing. And every kid, every youth, I feel like everybody has potential. There is
Right.
no child that does not have potential to be great. Everybody has potential to be great, but it's just the outside factors of them being great, the influencers and the influences around them. I feel like that has a big factor on what prevents them from being great or not being great.
That's true. I think a big thing, again, like you guys said before, I mean, it's who you hang around. The Bible says bad company ruins good morals, and that holds true. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're hanging around bad people, and your circle is always bad, whether your circle is small or big. Because some people they'll use the idea, oh well, my circle is small, so I don't have these issues. Well, your circle can be small, but still be a negative circle.
Yeah.
So they'll use that idea to influence the idea that they have a good circle. But just because your circle is small doesn't mean it's good at all. That's just simply
Because
not
you
it.
can still have a circle of 4 people, but the rest of them is mess starters, and they messy, and they just all drama, rather than a group of people, 16 people, who do things for the community positively, who study together in a group. They're doing things to make them be great,
Yeah.
and make the world around them be great.
Yeah, like even in middle school and in high school, I used to see like really good kids, like who, like from my perspective, I didn't like really know them, but like I could tell like, oh, they seem like they're doing good, and then they would just start hanging around in a group of like bad like apples, like bad. Like they just like they would act out and stuff like that. Like they would be disruptive in class, stuff like that. And I would see them hang around with them, and then it would like change who they are.
Right.
I'd just be like, wow, that's really surprising.
And then back on kind of what Kyle was saying about the drama thing, I think that's another thing about this generation is the fact that it's so filled. As much as they are enticed with money, they're also enticed with drama. Like
And
drama
they
is something
crave
that
it.
feels,
Like, it's so bad. Like, that people crave drama. That's a bad thing. Like, I never knew that somebody could be addicted to drama or wanting to be in
They're
it or
just
craving it.
messy people.
Yeah, like, it's so bad. I never knew that could happen. There's adults like that, too, and it's so bad because their kids turn out that same way.
It's just because people be bored and they just be wanting
That
something
too.
to happen. Like,
Or they might not be doing good on their own, so they
That-
figure I have to
I have to
do
make
something
somebody
to
else's
them.
life messed up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I know, like I don't like hanging around people that have to say something negative about someone else every single
Yeah.
time. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be a continuous bashing of another individual every time we converse. That's too much drama, and I can't stand drama. So I try to stay out of it. But Eli, why are like the youth of this generation, of this era, I guess I would say, so important, so pivotal?
because me personally, I've always like thought of this. So, like, say like our like national like leaders,
Yeah.
like people like the president, leaders in the government, things like that. The youth are going to eventually turn into those people, and
Right.
also like
Yes.
teachers
Yeah.
and like professors in college and things like that. They're going to be teachers and professors in college, so they need to be like, I guess you could say, they need to like,
Be examples.
yeah, we need to be examples to them.
Well,
so that they
positive
can,
examples,
yeah,
if
positive
anything.
examples, so that they can grow into those like being able to lead positions,
Yeah.
like being a teacher, professor, national leader, things like that.
I agree. I feel like you said, why is our generation of youth so important?
Yeah.
I feel like it's important because we're going to be the ones to shape out that next generation of youth. We're going to be, so like us per se, we're going to be the ones to lead them. We're going to be the ones to be those positive examples, the one to show them how to do this and how to do that in life. You know, I feel like we're supposed to be, we're meant to be this generation of youth. And it's sad to say that not everybody are positive examples, because you have a lot of negative examples, but I feel like it's definitely, it should be everybody's job to be positive examples. But you know, that's just one of those things where the world isn't perfect and not everybody's perfect. So it's sort of hard to get a bunch of kids together and, you know what, let's do this. Let's be positive examples to this next generation coming up. Let's show them, let's lead them in the right direction.
Right. I think this generation has the power to change a lot, which makes this generation so important, because we have so many different ways and outlets we have so many ways and outlets to get around for people. We have so many ways to change and develop. For us to be able to talk to somebody in Tennessee through social media shows how much power we can actually have.
Right.
And so I think that we don't really, we take it for granted how much power we have, and that's not really our objective at the moment. This generation's objective isn't, I wouldn't say about change necessarily. I feel like this generation lives a lot in the now and doesn't really think about what their actions will do in their future.
No, see, I feel you. I guess depending on how you word it, I don't know if I fully agree, because I feel like this generation is it's so positive and negative in so many ways. Like for example, you have this generation. I've only been alive for about so many years, but it's so it tries to. I will say it's very proactive. I would say, like, whether or not you want to debate the social media thing and the posting of it, and if you don't post this stuff, you know, like Black Lives Matter, stuff like that, you can debate that or whatever you want. But I will say, I mean, when that stuff does happen, it's a ton of, you do see a ton of, you know, support and things leading to the direction of, okay, I want this change to happen. You want to talk about bashing of cops and stuff like that. They were saying, you know, this generation, I would say, they're definitely very activist style.
Yeah, that's one of the things I do actually like about this generation. Like, if there is a problem,
They fight for the standpoint
they fight
of
for
it.
the change.
Yeah.
They fight for the, like you said, standpoint of it. And we can get change to happen. It's like,
Yeah, I feel you. I remember, dang, man, I think it was 6th grade year, bro. I think it was like 6th grade year. That was like the Baltimore riots, I think it was. I think it was 6th grade year. I want to say it was.
I think.
I guess that was
Yeah, was it for
y'all
me?
5th grade year. But I think that was our 6th grade year, bro.
I don't even remember in 6th grade.
I
think
know, but I'm not sure we
key-
know what you're talking about.
It was
Yeah,
in,
I remember
it was in
that was-
elementary school for us. Yeah.
And I think after that, I will say, like, and I kept telling people, like, after that, that's kind of when this generation, I felt like, really had this huge shift. Like,
Yeah.
before, so what was that, 2014, I want to say? Around 2014, maybe 2014. So around that time, I felt like this generation really, like, took a huge shift, because, like, after that, you know, the Trayvon Martin, I think it was, and the Baltimore riots after that, you know, the looting of stores and all that kind of stuff. After that, this generation was like, or starting there, this generation really changed, because now whether or not, you know, the violence with the riots and stuff were called for, you know, the idea that they were trying to shape a change is kind of was like, dang, so now this really kind of makes us curve. And every time, you know, every
People
time you
see
see
what's going on.
it's really big now.
They see it. People, youth, we aren't blind. We see and we hear things, and we know what's going on. The same way that years back, adults wanted to fight for change and wanted to get rid of racism for good. You know, it's the same way that we see it, and the same way that other kids see it, and it's the same way that they want to fight for it. Like you said, although the violence isn't called for, violence is never, to me personally, violence is really never an answer unless you have to get to that point. I mean, unless you have to get to that point, but I feel like.
But what do you think violence would do?
Violence changes nothing. It just causes.
But what do you think it would do?
I mean,
It sounded like you kind of disagreed
no,
with that
no.
statement.
I was playing to an
Okay.
extent. Like, I mean, only thing with violence I would say is violence usually leads to adding more fuel to the fire. Usually, you know. I mean, sometimes I guess whatever. I mean, you really are that violent at something. I'm pretty sure most of the time the opposition will stop if you're violent enough in the forefront attack. But I mean, that doesn't make the violence okay. That's
So
not
you're
what
saying, like,
I
in
think-
certain viewpoints, violence can help.
I'm not gonna say
Given
it,
the circumstance.
it can
Given the
help. It doesn't make it right, but I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say it can't help. But I wouldn't say it's right, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Eventually, people get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's like a thing like where your parents would tell you if somebody hits you, go tell an adult in school. Somebody hits you, go tell somebody. You tell somebody, the person's still hitting you, still bullying you. Tell the adult again, they don't do nothing. You're still dealing with that certain person. You know, eventually a person gets sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I'm pretty sure that's a lot of adults and kids today. You know, when it comes to these riots and these marches and all of this stuff, you know, people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I feel like that's where that violence comes from.
Man, I got tired of being sick and tired way too early, bro. Like, I was in his start, and I was like, I was sick of being tired. Like, because this boy was like, he was like making fun of me, and so I pushed him out of his chair, and then I started beating him up. This was in like his start, and so they called my mom, and she gave me a pacifier or something like that. And I had to calm down.
Was it a pacifier?
I had to calm down, but no, I will say, I had to everybody really has to learn the hard way, especially with violence. You know, I had a cousin. I can't really say he was violent per se, but I had a cousin. He had to learn the hard way. You know that you can't always be this following in the streets kind of path, and then expect to be rewarded like somebody else. You know, he wanted to be reluctant to his parents. He wanted to be a thug per se, and he just got paralyzed. So it's like he got shot and paralyzed. So I mean, it's like you really, and I can't necessarily say it's who he hangs around. It's kind of more so,
And,
you got to learn the hard way sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
and you know, that's like what I told you, Mari, like I was telling you before. That movie, I don't know if anybody saw it, Charm City Kings,
Yeah.
on HBO Max. That movie, it's a prime example. And this generation of youth, like in general, a lot of them, it's a prime example of if you choose to live the street life,
Yeah.
then you choose to deal with the street life consequences.
It's a
And,
choice.
you know, people get mad when you say it like they didn't choose to live anything. Well, why was they in the streets?
What was his name?
Why
bro?
was they doing this? Mouse, the
No.
character in the movie?
The one that actually got shot.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I
I
can't.
forgot his name.
Oh, swear to God. Yeah,
What?
the kid. Okay, so brief, real quick, sidetrack. The movie Charm City Kings, these three boys, they wanted to
Poor
live the
Elijah,
street
because
life.
he don't know.
They wanted to live the street life. They wanted to be what they weren't meant to be. They wanted to ride dirt bikes. They wanted to sell drugs. They wanted to do all this stuff so that they could get money easier.
Yeah.
You know, and the kid, he was getting money to raise money for bills for his mom because his mom was struggling, and I get that, but you know, there's a certain way to do things, and because they went in the wrong direction, they went on a weed call. No, they were robbing a corner store to get money, and one of them got shot. And you know, again, you choose to live the street life, you choose to deal with the street life consequences, and I feel like people really need to let that sink in, because when people get locked up for again, you're dealing with the street consequences. We're living that street life. People get locked up. You see people in comments, free them and oh my gosh, free my heart and stuff. But at the end of the day,
You said free my heart, and he got like a murder charge. or
that's what I'm
something.
saying. You have a murder charge. I get it. You didn't want to see them go to jail, and you're saying free them, but do they really deserve to be free?
Now, granted, I mean, the jail system is a whole nother topic, low key, but
It is.
still, like, I mean, they really do be like freedom, and he be having like 2 domestic violence cases
Yeah.
and 3 murder charges and stuff like that.
Like, that's not how that works. Some people do deserve to. I'm not saying nobody deserves jail. Nobody deserves any of that. But at the end of the day, consequences are inevitable to situations like that. So,
Gotta learn the hard way.
Life is basically surrounded by choices.
yes.
It is. And granted, that's the one thing I will say about this generation is like, your whole, I mean, yes, obviously, you know, you being black and then, or growing up poor, you have a lot of, you have issues that'll make stuff difficult to enact a financial change in someone's life. at the same time, I feel like everything's still relatively laid out in front of us. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not like it's impossible to get to this milestone. You know, even if it's more difficult because you're black or because you grew up poor. You know, something of the sort. It's still everything's still laid out in front of us, and it really does depend on your choices. You know?
Right. And I think because if they are black, I think they believe they have to live a certain way.
Yeah.
Because I am black, I have to live in the street. They feel like they don't have a choice
Yeah, that's not
to
how
go
that works.
outside of what their ancestors did. And so I think once we get out of that mindset that because of my skin,
Yeah.
I have to live a certain lifestyle, I think we'll be great.
Yeah, I feel you. Because the one thing, but then again, though, when I guess they don't realize that when you do choose to live a certain lifestyle based on the pigmentation of your skin, then you kind of let the opposition win per se. Because now you're saying, oh, because I'm going to be who you said I am. You know, I'm going to be a thug. So now this racial profiling that exists, now you're allowing it to be more prominent because you are allowing them to be correct. So you're allowing them yourself to be a thug because you're black. So you're basically
Right.
you're basically internally racially profiling yourself by living based off your skin color.
Absolutely.
Now, I didn't write this question down or anything. I was kind of thinking, I was kind of hearing y'all talking, that kind of reminded me of kind of something that's really important with this generation. And I remember I had to preach a sermon, you know, and I was talking about it before, but it's a really high percentage of this generation of youth that are dealing with like these mental issues, like depression and anxiety. And it's like, I know I saw one time, I saw a post and it was like, this is the generation of mental health issues. And relatively, it's been pretty true. I mean, you know, it's
It
a
is.
very over 50% of, you know, this youth have, you know, depression or anxiety. So I guess you guys can kind of spill your feelings on that.
You want to go first?
I can go first. I think I see a lot of people who are depressed. And when I ask them, why are you depressed? And I say, what are you doing that's making you depressed?
Right.
They are listening to sad music, depressing music. And I'm questioning, why are you listening to something that's going to
Make it worse.
make you more depressed? If you want to come out of it, why are you putting yourself still deeper into it?
Yes.
Right.
People like have entire sad song playlists, and I'm
Right.
just like,
Like Raw Wave.
yeah. And I'm just like, if you're feeling this way, and I'm sure you don't like it, because who likes being sad or?
See, some
being
people really
upset?
do enjoy that though. They
Yeah.
enjoy being in that negative. I don't know. I can't tell you why, but they enjoy being negative.
I don't think I'll ever like truly understand that. But like, why would you want to stay in that position and make a playlist that would keep you in that position?
Yeah, I definitely get it. My standpoint on it, as far as youth with ADHD, mental issues, depression, anxiety, all of that stuff, it's a patience thing. Patience is required. Like I was saying, sidetrack real quick. I was saying yesterday to Keyshawn, no kid is really. I don't think no kid is ever bad. I think kids have mischievous ways, but I don't think anybody's ever bad. You have to be patient with everybody because everybody goes.
What you mean by no kids ever?
Like,
bad?
you know how
I mean, I
if
was
a
a pretty
kid's like
bad kid.
acting out or like showing off and like, oh my God, he
Right.
is so bad. Like, I don't think it's necessarily that they're bad, but you know, everybody goes through something. I feel like that it's in that case, like it's just a patience thing. Like when I went through anxiety like from bullying, so like I was anxious about everything and didn't want to do everything. Depression, I wouldn't say I went through it. I was upset about bullying, but you know, depression, I've seen people who were actually like prescribed with or diagnosed with depression and they were prescribed to meds for it. So really my standpoint on it is we just have to be patient with those who are dealing with those things. We have to try to be of help. Although a lot of people are very stubborn, they say like just because you tell me it's okay doesn't mean it's not going to be okay, or your help isn't really going to do anything. You know, it's really for me, I'm very patient. I can be very patient with people. I like to help people, so if I have to be patient with you, your depression and trying to get through that, if that's a process, then let's go through that process. It's definitely hard. It's not easy. But yeah, that's really, I just feel like we have to be of help. Those ones who are kind of up here, we have to be of help to those who are down here.
Right. I think we have to handle them with a level of diplomacy and very diplomatically, because it's very easy to tip someone off
Yeah.
nowadays. You say one little thing and they go off. So we have to be very careful and sensitive with the way we present ourselves
Yeah.
to try and help them.
Like kind of what Kai was saying, based on personal experience, I would say. I think, Kai, you pretty much, I've known you for a while now, my whole life, but you said I hated you at first, but, no, but I think, I wouldn't really say depression per se, but my anger was like really, really really bad. Like I didn't really know how to control it per se, or I didn't know how to manage it, because to say you control your emotion would be able to say you know how to not get angry, you know how to not get happy, stuff like that. So I would more so manage it instead of control it. So I didn't know how to manage it, and it got me in my fair share of trouble. I've been suspended like 5 times, from elementary to high school. So, and it was all based off my anger. I remember one time, I was I don't even know why I was so mad that day, but I think I was late to school. And I was so mad.
I remember that.
I was so mad, and then, Keyshawn, you kind of cruddy,
Right.
But anyway.
What you had this today? You was in the hallway, walking in the hallway, and you got stopped or something for being
I
late?
was walking in late, and I was right to sign in, and then the lady, and I was late already, so I was already mad. And the lady was she was like, well, she was like, you know what, just walk slowly to the door, and I won't even mark you as late. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then I'm walking slowly to the door, and then the assistant principal, she was like, no, the bell rings, and then she was like, well, you know what, you're late. And then so I really was flipping out, bro. I was really pissed. So then, I really could not manage my anger at the time, and so it's probably, I think it was 10th grade year, and so she and so I just was like, what, yo? I was really pissed, and so I grabbed the chair and then I threw it at her, and then, no, I'm playing. I ain't throw it at her, but I just grabbed the chair and I flipped the chair, and then I flipped the trash can, and then, but it's crazy how God works though, because the assistant principal was come to my office, and it was I was just mad, but I didn't really care. So, I went to her office, and it's crazy. I went to the policeman's office, and he was like, what's one thing? He was like, you gotta calm down. What can I do to help you calm down? I appreciated that, but he was like, what can I do to help you calm down? And this is 10th grade year. Which is why I said in the first podcast, having something to lean back on is so important. When you're messing up, having Christianity and you're willing to lean back on is so important. Because he asked me, what can I do to help you calm down? And I said, can you give me a Bible? So it was and I guess in his brain, hearing a kid say, can you give me a Bible to help you calm down?
I was like, wow.
I was like, dang.
Yeah.
So then he gave me, by God's grace, he had a Bible in his room. So, I'm reading my favorite scriptures. And then I go to the assistant principal's office. And it turns out, we're chit-chatting. I'm in trouble, but we're chit-chatting. And so she's like, and then she was like, I heard you ask for a Bible in the office. And so I was like, yeah. And then she was like, did you know I'm a first lady? So I'm just like, dang, that's really crazy. I was like, that's really crazy. I'm like, yeah, I'm a PK. And so it's just God really does place people in your life to just, at perfect and divine timing. It's I was just so in awe. The policeman was a minister, and my assistant principal was a first lady, and I was just wow.
And
I still got
said,
suspended though.
that goes back to patience. They were patient with you. You have to be patient with people. your anger, the way you've changed over the years, like when we first became close, your anger was ridiculous. Like, it was crazy. And it's like people wanted Amari to change so quick, and they wanted him to just be nice. But it was a patience thing, in the same way that they were patient with him, the same way that his mom was patient with him, even though she didn't know what was going on.
Right.
Amari's mom would ask me questions. What's going on with him? Do you know what's going on? I don't know what's going on. Like, what's going on? And I would ask her the same questions, like, is he okay? You know, it's just a patience thing. It's a patience thing with anybody who's going through something. You can't force somebody to just, hey, I'm okay, be okay. Like, it's gonna be okay. Like, be okay. Like, you can't do that. You know, it's a process.
Yeah. I hate when people, they're like, well, why? I forgot somebody I was talking to recently. They were just like, well, yeah, they were just like, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty frustrated right now. They were just like, well, stop being frustrated. I was
Right.
like,
Yeah, that's not how that works.
That's not at all how that works. But it's the same way, not only when you're dealing with negative emotions, but negative acts, because you can be happy, and someone can seem happy all they want, you know, but if they're doing negative acts, you still should be patient with that as well, not just negative emotions. Because if someone is going out there, you know, having sex and drinking and smoking and doing this sin and the next sin, you know what I'm saying, but they're happy, you have to be patient with their negative acts as well as their negative emotions. You feel me?
Absolutely.
I think you should also find somebody who's also been through what you've been through and made it out of it. I think that will be the identifier that you can actually get through it, and that maybe it'll be a little bit more easy and be a little bit more easy to get through the situation by talking with somebody who's actually been through it. Transparency, constructive criticism, pushing you, all those things, different types of things matter when you're going through depression, anxiety. And so that's just what would work for me. I would need somebody to help me who's been through it.
I said that last podcast with my bullying. I definitely agree. I think getting through bullying was, going through it was hard, but getting through it was even more of a blessing, because now I'm able to use my story and use the things that I've been through and tell them how I went through it to help somebody else who's also going through that. And the same thing with the anxiety. Like, although I may still deal with it with certain things, or I might still get anxious when it comes to certain things, but at the end of the day, I've gotten through a lot of that. So I definitely agree, having somebody as an influencer or as somebody to help you go through that thing you're going through, that, and they went through it as well, that's definitely a good way to help somebody through something.
Definitely, because like I said earlier, like, that's the same reason, like, and I don't have any favorite kids, that's not really the thing, but I connect with some kids more than others because I can see myself within them, and I think that's what's like, again, that's why it's like, okay, I know how to help you, so now I'm going to try and do my best to show you, and it's not even really the anger thing per se, it's just the more so emotional aspect of going through that phase that I know a lot about. And I can't say I know how to get everyone through it, but I know how I got through it, and I can try to help them persevere and get through it themselves. So I would say definitely, you know, you go through your experiences to help other people most of the time,
Right.
or to be helped.
But yeah, oh Lord, y'all, we was on that topic for a while. So we're gonna, the next question was the influx of social media, good or bad?
Eli?
So Eli, you can take that.
I feel like, influx, you meant like usage, right?
Like the increased usage, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like the increase of usage, I feel like it can be good, because like with certain situations, like say if there's something going on like across the world, that like a country that we do not live in at all, and it's like not a good situation, like in the slightest, and it's a really bad situation, and like people find posts on it and they repost it.
The awareness of it.
Yeah, we can help to spread awareness with social media, and it can also be a way to connect with people you haven't talked to in a long time. Like some of my friends, like some of my real close friends that I've known since elementary school, like I have not talked to them in months, and I could, if I felt like it, I'd just find them, text them, be like, hey, how you been? And I feel like that's a really good thing about social media. But
Easy to find people.
yeah, I feel like social media can be bad as well, because it can be a bad influence on some people. like say if you believe like too much. I wouldn't necessarily say that, but like you see somebody doing this, and like it's back to what you were saying about like kids and how no kid is like born bad. I guess if you see somebody doing this and they're getting a lot of attention for it, you're gonna want to do the same thing. If
Being
you
a follower,
as well, and so it can influence you into doing bad things.
I agree. I definitely I agree with Eli. Like I said, like he said, it can be good. Spreading awareness with things like people were doing with Black Lives Matter and with racism in general and these George Floyd cases and Breonna Taylor, all these things. So it can be good because we are spreading that awareness, but it can be bad because, like I was saying, I never knew that somebody could really have an addiction to social media.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Like my pastor was saying, he used to say all the time, people would wake up, and it's adults too. Like it's like adults be way worse than us. Like people will wake up at 5 a.m. for work, and the first thing they do, can't even see, breath stink, got crust in their eyes. First thing they do is hop on Facebook. First thing they do, get on. First thing they do, hop right on Instagram. Whatever they do, rather than praying or rather than thanking God for waking them up, or rather than go and brush your teeth, go for a jog, like just doing something other than hopping right on social media, and it's, like it's YouTube, Snapchat, whatever else, like people, that's people's go-to, and a lot of people still do that. Like I used to do that. I had to stop doing that because it was just like, I can't even see. My eyes are like this, and the first thing I do is get on Instagram. Like,
Checking
I think that also goes back to the idea that because social media a lot of times it has its good perks to it, but it can be so filled with drama. So that's the first thing people they're looking for. Okay, what drama can I see today? Maybe somebody because maybe there's some drama on at 5 in the morning. So like let me go check that out real quick, even if that's really not the case. Like I don't know.
And I think when we talk about the influx, the increase of usage, I think that we need to actually take time to focus on ourselves. A lot of us don't know who we are because we are so attached to other people's lives. We get so infused in somebody else's business in their lives that we don't actually take time to figure out what we actually need and who we are. And I think I was thinking about this, but when you get to talk and you kind of forget about what you're talking about, what you want to say. Hold on, don't say nothing yet.
Come on, yo, hurry up.
Hold on.
that's so funny.
Hold on. All right. So I think, oh my God. Okay, come back to me. Come back to me.
Go ahead, Mariah. What's your
Because I actually had it.
full input on that?
This is what I'm talking about. Keyshawn always messing up something. But anyways, no, like,
Okay.
no, like, I will say, like everybody else
No,
said.
I got it. Social media. I'm sorry. Social media. I think will be great when we realize that social media is a very unstable thing. It is very. It changes too much.
Yeah.
And so, since our generation is so attracted to the trends, we tend to follow those trends and don't realize in that it changes every 5 months.
Yep.
And that we actually need to take time to focus on ourselves because we are so caught up in the trends and the fad and what looks good that we don't actually begin to know ourselves. At that point, it doesn't become constructive logic, but it becomes deductive logic.
Speaking of looks good, are you okay? Damn.
I was-
Hold up. Bro, he took his neck so fast. Hold up. But no, because he was okay. So speaking of looks good, it's like
All right, go ahead.
Because like no, but people are more so when it comes to social media, people are so focused on what looks good instead of what is good. Like Keyshawn was saying, how you need to focus on yourself. A lot of the times, they're so focused on, let me take this selfie, or again, it's really for another topic, but this is couple goals. Let me take this photo and post this photo so I can follow this trend, so I can look this good. But a lot of times they'll post these especially couples. And again, it's for another topic, really, but they'll post, "Oh, this photo looks nice. That's be social media's favorite couple," and then internally, you know, they're damaged. They're
The
happy
worst
outside.
couple
You know
ever.
what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Because I've seen people post, you know what I'm saying, their significant other, and then a few days later they're single, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh wow, that's
I've definitely seen that a lot. I definitely agree with you because I just don't understand how flipping your phone up like this and smoking a blunt or taking a shot. I really don't understand how that looks good. And you know, to some people it does.
Well, because you know they interested in that.
They
That's the
are,
new.
they are.
The trend is to post a bag of weed. The trend is to post a bottle of Hennessy now, a boomerang. So that's the trend. And if people see that you got it, and if you posting it, they're gonna slide up. It's a new connection that they call it.
And y'all, we're definitely, like I said in the first podcast, we're not judging anybody. We're just stating the reality of things, and I'm pretty sure along with us, y'all know that it's the reality. People do go on social media with their little bags of weed and with their little bottles of Henny, and they do their little boomerangs and post them, you know. I'm mobile. Who's mobile? You know, that's the thing going on now, you know, so. But real quick, so we can keep it moving. A good question was, why do you believe this generation was nothing to do with God? And Amari, I'm gonna go ahead and let you take that first.
already. Didn't want to go to Keyshawn first. This generation, I would say, I mean, kind of the same answer as social media, just the opposite. The same as social media is the trend. Building a relationship with God isn't the trend. So because it isn't the trend, they're not gonna follow that path. Now if they see, I'm sure if they saw, this friend is at church, this friend believes in God, this friend believes in God. Honestly, I'd probably say then you start seeing more of an influx.
Yeah.
But because this generation is so focused on materialistic, short-term way of living, we want to talk about weed, sex, drugs, all that kind of stuff. They're so focused on all these short-term way of things that they're not focused on. They don't care about building a relationship, with God, something more so eternal. They rather live short-term, YOLO.
Yeah, I was
Right.
just thinking that same phrase, "You only live once." Like a lot of people think that this is your only life, and that's just not how things are. But I was gonna say, the reason I feel like if you the more you sin, I feel like the more it pushes you away from God. And
Definitely.
since
It does.
sin is so normalized in this generation and in society as well, sin is really normalized.
Well, sin is life.
Yeah,
sin
it's
is
inevitable. It's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
I feel like the more you do it, it just pushes you away from God. And also, I feel like a lot of people, I remember my one friend, I asked him, I was like, why don't you, what's it called? Why don't you, do you think you're a Christian? He said, no, he's an atheist. And he was like, knowing that things like the Holocaust happened and that you have the power to stop it. No, yeah, I know. And he's like, knowing that you have the power to stop it made me not wanna.
Yeah,
I just
you
can't
don't want to be
respect you
involved
for
with that.
Yeah,
But
and-
that's not how that works. That's not
Yeah,
how it
it's-
works
it's
because, in my opinion, obviously he died on the cross. But in my opinion, essentially the biggest gift God gave us was, free choice. We can choose what we want to do. He doesn't say we're not robots. So when people say, "Oh, well, why didn't he stop the Holocaust? So why didn't he stop slavery?" I'm like,
Yeah.
we have free will. We can choose what we want to do. So he's not gonna say, "Oh, well, hey, Jim, hey, white boy," you know what I'm saying? He's not gonna say, don't beat on that slave right now. That's not what I want.
Right.
He's not gonna say that because he wants
Right.
free will. We're not robots. We're not.
We're
So
not
so
programmed.
when people say that, I'm like, unless you want us to be robotic in our movements and actions, then that's simply not how that works.
I definitely agree, and again, it goes to the whole being a leader, not a follower, and it really just depends on how you're raised. A lot of people are raised in a Christian house, and that's how some youth are involved with God and do have relationships with God. Like I can say, for the four of us, we grew up going to church. We have parents who are Christians. We go to church now. This is our thing. Me and Amari, we're youth leaders. We're MITs. Keyshawn is, You up there. This is Bishop Keyshawn right
please.
here. You getting up there. So I
He's
mean,
Grease.
we're all preaching on, we all preach. We all give words. So, you know, I feel like, again, as Christians, it's our job to want to bring this generation closer to God. But again, like Keyshawn said, it's the trends on social media.
Right.
And then a lot of people, I cannot stress this enough. I've seen it on TikTok too much. A lot of people bash God, and a lot of people bash Christianity for the many sins and the many rules. People think, again, and I'm not judging anybody, but people think just because being gay is a sin or being drunk is a sin, people think that's judging. And
Right.
again, like I said in the first podcast, there's a big difference between righteous and wrongful judgment, and most of the time if I'm righteously judging someone, they're like, bro, all y'all do is judge me. All y'all do is tell me what I can and can't do. Da 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 da. Oh, I guess I'm going to hell now. Nobody say you were going to hell, because it ain't never too late to change. But at the end of the day, you have to want to change. I definitely think it's the trends. It's what people see. People hear people bashing God, and people hear, oh, Christians, they do this and they do too much. And they do that. People hear that and they be like, you know what? Why would I want to be a Christian? How about I just do this instead? So.
Yeah, I feel
Right.
you.
Now, since we're talking about God, I can get a little bit deeper now. I think I think they're just not interested. They're not interested because if we face it, sin is not an easy sacrifice. Sin is not easy to give up because sin is fun.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to get caught up in those things. It's hard to let go of something you desire, right? So I think that's one of the main reasons as to why people are not interested, because they just don't want to give up what they desire. And I agree with God. It's not trendy. Going to church is not a trend, right? Especially for us. Going to church is not a trend. It's not really noticed because you don't see a lot of people our age doing it.
Yeah.
And so I think that plays a big part of it. But why do you think, I'm going to get in the Bible, why do you think Jesus told Isaac not to go down to Egypt? At this time, Egypt is represented as a place of significance because it holds great value.
Yeah.
They have a lot of money, it's a lot of wealth, it's a lot of people there. It holds a crowd, right? And so he told him not to go there because that's where all the trends are, right? Everybody has an anointing, right? Everybody has an anointing.
Right.
But your anointing will not matter if you aren't. Your anointing, how can I put this without saying something?
Oh, God.
Your anointing will not matter if you do not care what people think of you. That's what really matters. You have to care with what people think of you, because you can have your anointing all you want. You can have your gift all you want, but nobody's going to want you if you're, mean, stuck up. And so your anointing would be purposeless. So we have to be more like Isaac and obey God, and
We do.
and not get caught up in the crowd and the trends, and actually sacrifice more.
Right.
Think about life, how it will be once you give up those things.
Speaking of life and what it will be, because we're about to wrap up, so I just kind of, everybody can just give a quick soliloquy of this last question.
That's cool. We pretty much touched on everything anyway, so.
This last question, everybody can just give a quick soliloquy. Where will this generation be in so and so many years? You can pick your years. It doesn't really matter.
To be honest, in my opinion, I don't feel like if we keep going down the path that we're on now, I don't feel like it's gonna be good at all. Like me moving up in the years, like moving through school, I've like seen just how bad it's getting.
Go downhill.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've been watching it go downhill in elementary school, and like I'm just like the behavior of the children just gets the behavior of the children just gets worse and worse, in my opinion. Like in the things that they're doing that I
Right.
see, I'm just like, this has to stop, because it's not good. Like I see children like dressing more like how like older people dress like ripped jeans, stuff like that,
Yeah.
expensive shoes, things like that, and I see them like just.
What do you think? Expensive shoes is the problem? I like expensive
No, I don't.
shoes.
I don't think expensive shoes. I don't think.
You mean? I think you mean. I think you mean like as far as like
Like the
if a
model.
girl is a girl in the 6th grade should not be wearing a skirt that shows anything below her knees.
Yeah.
Like I think you mean stuff like that.
Yeah,
As far as
She shouldn't show
clothing.
anything below her knees.
I meant, oh God, like anything that if I could see any type of inappropriate skin. So if
Right.
as a girl in
Too
6th
much
grade
skin.
should not be wearing a shirt that's down here. I could see these all out. I shouldn't see a girl in 6th grade wearing a skirt, and I can see her butt or her underwear. You know, I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But piggybacking off
provoke
of what
him.
he said, I feel like it's if we keep going the rate we're at, it's only gonna get worse. I feel as if though it can change though. Like I said, it's up to us really in this now period. It's up to us to try to make a change, to get ourselves together, to make things right with the world. You know, yeah, that's really all I have to say. Like we have to make things change. We have to change these trends maybe into more positive trends that are going on social media. We have to change what's going on social media, the world around us, so that we can really shape out this generation of youth in like 50 years. I guess you could say 50 years from now, it'll be better if we shape it out to be better.
Key.
I think I agree with them. I agree with them. I think I think a lot of more things will be normalized. I think it just won't be how it is now. It'll be a little bit more worse. I think when you look at it, I think we need to stop the idolization of human beings, especially when it comes to significant rappers and singers and stuff. Because when we look at it, when we look beyond their gift, beyond their
Right.
singing and their rapping, are they really having good lives? Most of them are not married, having babies out of wedlock, can't keep one girl. So you have to look beyond their gift
Yeah.
and say, dude, is this really the person I want to be like?
Right.
Because that's what's really going to matter in the future, right? Because if you want to be like them, that's who you're going to be in the future. So I think we need to stop the idolization and truly look more into their human aspects instead of their gift.
Right. Two things. For one, I think this generation, well, I'm thinking in 50 years or so, in each generation, I feel like we'll be extremely intelligent because each generation really does get smarter. It's kind of
Yes,
crazy.
it is.
But I think we'll be extremely book smart and intelligent. I just think we'll be lacking in some not only social skills, but just some you can say religious skills. You want to say that as well. Just a lot of other skills besides intelligence and book smarts. So that's it. And just the last thing, one word answer, only one word. What's
Well, hold on, before we move on, I think people need to be more open to listening, because it
That's true,
has to
too.
be more than us. Because we could talk all we want. If no one really wants to listen, it's going to be pointless. So I think people have to be open to wanting to change and wanting the future to be better.
right? Yeah. Before we close, one word answer. And I'll just go around the table. What will be the most important thing in this generation in 50 years? One word answer, Eli.
The most important thing.
One word.
Can you come back to it?
Kyle.
The most important thing, again, patience. For me, patience is important. We have to be patient with each other. We have to be patient with those ones who are a little down there, you know? That's really
Right.
it.
Key.
Can you repeat that question? Because I kind of chuckled when you were saying it.
What will be the most important thing in 50 years for this generation?
Transparency. I think people need to stop hiding what they've been through because transparency is a very imperative thing when it comes to helping others. So I think we need to be more transparent.
I would say understanding would be the most important thing.
I feel like open-mindedness,
Okay.
allowing more things in instead of just being closed-minded and
All right.
thinking what you think is everything.
Okay. But that's all we have for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in again to our episode 2 of this podcast, the Process Podcast on this generation. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to actually watch, don't forget to be educated, don't forget to just let everything sink into you. But yeah, we will be filming again. We film every first and third Friday. We're only filming today on Saturday because, well, some things came up, but yeah, but definitely don't forget to tune in next time. Turn on those post notifications as well. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next podcast. So peace.
All right.